Hey there, this video is going to be covering the advanced brush sets that I created, and we're going to be looking at pretty much all the brushes here and the uses, the different things that you can do with them, and kind of why I created them in the first place. All right, so here I have 4 different kind of backgrounds with just a nice little gradients on it. So to best kind of demonstrate each of the different brushes. So we're gonna go pretty much just down the list real quick. So some of them are somewhat similar, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on all of them. But you'll see there's some pretty interesting ones in there that might not be as obvious as you would think. So one of my favorite is this one. So this is the soft round brush that has a little bit of texture. So if I blow it up, you'll see here, as you can see, it's kind of like just like a regular soft brush, but it has some texture to it. So it creates some really interesting, soft brush strokes, which I think are pretty much awesome for everything. Like, I use this brush all the time. Some paintings I will only use this brush. So you know that I'm really, I'm really in love with my square brushes here. The textured one especially, since those are pretty much the only ones I use now. But yeah, so my square brushes and this one, like, I will do paintings with only these ones, and those are like fantastic for skin, for pretty much anything. So if you want to do like some highlights on the skin here, as you can see, it works great. And it's not perfect, since there's some texture to it, so it looks it looks believable to for pretty much anything you do. So I really like that one. The pastel one's also very interesting too, especially these are great when you start a new painting. So if you want to add like some texture to your background, or if you want to do something that looks a little bit more traditional. So it's like very nice brush strokes that have a lot of textures to them, and there's also some sort of a little bit of like a color shift, as you can see here. So as if the color is being mixed with whatever's underneath. So yeah, it's and it's a very light brush as well, so it's not super heavy. It doesn't use that much resources to just use it. So this one and the one underneath, they're pretty much the same, except this one's a little bit more scarce. But yeah, so those brushes really nice for like background and adding texture to different areas of the painting, if that's what you're going for. And then of course we have my square brushes. So these are pretty self-explanatory. They're just like square brushes with texture, and the texture on it varies depending on which one you use. So the grain will be a little bit smaller on this one and a little bit bigger on the one below. Next we have the dry brushes. So these are also really nice for speed paint especially, or just anything background related. So the dry brushes here, very nice for backgrounds. Most of the time I'll start with these if I do like a proper painting, not like a speed paint. So I'll start with these, and then I'll kind of build up on top, and then add more details and change the brushes up as I go. But these are pretty much like the foundation brushes that I use. So this one and the one below as well. This one is like just very subtle, so add some really cool effect. But yeah, so let's change the color to see it a little bit better. So yeah, that's great to add like some cool textures on some metals, on rocks, on pretty much anything. This is like a very good background environment brush. That's what I use it for. I will rarely use it for characters, just because it's a little bit too textured. Like, I don't have a lot of control over it, but that's what makes it great for any kind of background, or like organic backgrounds. So, and of course here I have the skin brush, which is if we blow it up, you'll see it's just like a bunch of pores, kind of like a little bit like brush strokes, some sort of direction to it. And yeah, so this one, another great one to use just as is, to add some detail to your skin, and close-ups, for example, in like portraits. Or you can use it in overlay mode, which is also really nice. And actually, let's pick a different color, so something like this, and you can get some really nice effects like this, some really nice like change of hues, and it looks natural because you can kind of see the pores. So yeah, a very interesting brush. I'll use this one a lot whenever I do characters. Next, we're gonna look at the dry brushes here. So these are all pretty much the same. Like, I'll use them for the same purpose, but let's see here on the blue background. Those are really cool to give some like interesting shading to your scene. So let's say you're drawing like a, I don't know, like a cylinder or something. You'll see it's like hard on one side and soft on the other side. So if you go one direction like this and then the other direction, you can see you can create kind of like a cylinder look. So this one's a very rough one. I think it's the roughest one. This one has a lot of texture to it, a lot of canvas texture to it. And the first one here, a little bit more scarce even. So this is really cool for like, if you want to add some texture to the edge of the canvas or something like that. Those I love for skin also. So let's say you'll have you want to draw maybe like the outer edge of a face, like the silhouette. Go something like this. Already you kind of have like the shading already done for you. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Or like let's say you want to add like wrinkles, or you're working on like folds for like some clothes or something like that. Really useful for that too. So yeah, it's another really cool brush. I like also this one. As you can see, this one I named it pretty much what I use it for. So it's a background filler. So I'll just click whatever color, and this one has a lot of hue variation in it. So as you can see, like the color will change. So this is really cool to just fill up a background with some kind of like interesting texture to it. That's pretty much what I use it for. So maybe for some background, like some quick mountains or something like that. Some more abstract stuff, and then you can just paint over it. Really like this brush. Creates a lot of stuff like really quickly. So now I'm gonna go to the actual skin brushes. So the ones I was showing you before, pretty much for everything but skin. Like it works great with skin too, but it's a little bit too rough. So I like to use them for like folds or on like clothes and stuff like that. But for skin, when it comes to skin, these are my go-to. So actually, so this one, skin fold, skin cavity, and then the pores, of course, here. So skin fold, let's say you want to have, yeah, that's pretty much what it says though. Like, want to add some folds to your skin. There you go. So again, this is one that's a little bit more sharp on one edge, and then softer on the other. So you can get some really nice gradients. As you can see, some really nice organic gradients. Yeah, for skin, this is great. And then the other one, skin cavity, which is pretty much the same thing, except it's a lot sharper. So you want to have like like the edge of a, like to define like the contour of a nose or something like that. You want to use something like that instead. Or, like around the eye. There you go. So you kind of already have the shadow already done, and then you can just keep painting. So yeah, really cool brushes, this one. This actually works well for clothes as well, like pretty much like anything. Like I like these ones for skin particularly because they're a little bit softer. But yeah, like you have others like these where you can see kind of like the canvas through it to add some more texture to it. These are great for pretty much anything. So anything where you require some kind of like a shading on one side. Yeah, you can do a lot of cool stuff with this. And then we have the organic ones. So those are a little bit more funky and require a little bit more playing around with to kind of understand, but I'll show you what I do with them. So generally, again, this is going to be for background stuff or maybe like close-ups, but I'll generally not use them in the regular blending mode. So what I'll do here is change to something else. So like, my go-tos are overlay and multiply, just because they blend the color pretty nice. Like they don't change the color too much. So like these for, to start like I don't know, some sort of background for like mountains or something like that, or something close up. And then you can just go in there and kind of, adjust whatever, play it around, maybe soften certain areas and, play around with it like this. So yeah, this one is really cool for organic backgrounds. and they're pretty much all the same. So, well, not all the same, but they have the same kind of use. So this one's another great one for, for like close-ups. If you want to add like some nice perspective to your scene. Now, as you can see, like it's, again, they have like an harder edge on one side and then a softer one on the other one, so you automatically create kind of this the nice atmospheric perspective. And then you have other ones that are a little bit more funky. Like this is great for leaves or for like stylized foliage. Yeah, like this is great for anything like leaves. Whenever you don't want things to look too much like like defined leaves, this is great for like bushes or like just organic whatever, like let's say you're working on like an alien planet and you want to have some sort of flora. There you go, we can use that kind of stuff. So I really like this brush. Then I have another one here. This one is again great for like different organic uses. I like to use this one for backgrounds. Again, it's like the first one. It's like the the mountain one, but it's a little bit more flat, and you can kind of orient it in different ways. This is another one that I like to use as an overlay. So let's say you'll have you want to add some. You already used the foliage brush, and then you want to add some more texture to it. Something a little bit more subtle, like this, without using the same brush, to break it up a little bit more. So yeah, this is more like a texture brush that I'll use at the end to add maybe some lighting into some areas. And I like it because it's not perfect, so it gives some interesting texture to whatever you're doing. So yeah, I really like this brush, very interesting. And then the dust brush, let's see if there's other organic ones that I can show you guys. Yeah, so I'll do this one too right now. So this is another one that's similar to the this one we have here. So the BG, the background filler. The organic brush here is another one that's similar, very, very good for for filling up some background and creating some alien landscapes. As you can see, the color varies a lot. You start with this, and then you already have like a lot of interesting shades, a lot of interesting kind of shapes to play around with. So very interesting brush too. A good background filler as well. All right, now let's go and play around with the dust brush. So this one is awesome for when you're done, pretty much with the painting, and then you want to add some nice some nice effect. So this is what it is, like if you blow it up. But yeah, basically you want to have like a really subtle one. What I like to do is put it on a different layer, something like this, and then you have like small ones here and there, and then you kind of duplicate that. Control J, for example, and then you can blur those. So as you can see, it's kind of like glowing a little bit, and then yeah, you can even add like some motion to it, add some motion blur to it, and then suddenly there's like wind in your scene, something like that. Very useful brushes for finishing up your painting, adding that final like polish touch. And then we're nearing the end. These are the pores brushes, and these are fantastic for close-ups. I'll blow it up first. Actually, do it on white on a darker color here, so you can see the texture for it. So it's kind of this. So it's it's pores basically. So you can either use it as is, but I like to go in overlay mode, and you can use it in multiply or in overlay. Both works. I think it works a little bit more. A little bit better when it's in multiply, because this is kind of like the cavities instead. So yeah, you can add some really, really nice skin texture to and I say skin, but it can be it can be used for other things, obviously, but yeah, it's very, very good for pores. And then the other one here is another kind of a style for it. So it's the same, the same idea, but it works a little bit differently. So yeah, some really, really nice skin texture with this. And then, yeah, we are almost done. So this dust brush is, as you will see, a lot more obvious. So yeah, this is just like a lot of dust. So what's great with this, let's say you have like a metal rod, and I call it dust brush, but it can be anything. It can be like dirt on a surface, or all right. And then you have then I'll use this brush in multiply or in overlay. Again, works really well in this case, and you can just add a bunch of texture to it. And then you can paint over and soften that up a little bit. Yeah, it's a great brush to add kind of like like dirt or dust in the air. So let's say you have like a lot of sand blowing or something, you can use that to create that effect. And then finally, this last organic brush is kind of the first organic brush we looked at, but it's just like a lot more textured. So like I'll use that for close up too a lot. You know, it kind of looks like pebbles almost. But yeah, this works great as is or in multiply or overlay mode. Yeah, so this is one more. This is one I use for backgrounds again. Rarely for anything else, but for background it works really well. So this is pretty much it. So I think that covers all of them, right? This is what I use those brushes for. I hope this gave you a better idea on you know, as to what to do with these brushes. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.